Very good morning to one and all. A warm welcome to all for this seminar. I am Dr. G. Varadarajulu, Dean, Krishna College of Physiotherapy, KIMS deemed to be University, Karad. Today, we are going to discuss about the preventive, curative and rehabilitative role of physiotherapist during different waves of COVID-19. This topic especially I planned for all the health professionals, institutional heads and all physiotherapists, various categories of students of physiotherapy and even other health professionals also to know about the preventive aspect of physiotherapy. So these are the objectives of today's lecture, that we will be discussing about what is COVID and what is coronavirus, what are the hypothetical basis of different waves of COVID-19, what are the pathomechanism of coronavirus, how this coronavirus transmission is been taking place, and as a physiotherapist, what are the role of therapeutic exercises during any illness and specific to the corona, and concept of preventive physiotherapy during this pandemic situation, preventive physiotherapy exercise protocol, curative physiotherapy exercise protocol, rehabilitative exercise protocol. Like this, we will be discussing in today's lecture. So, first of all, about the introduction, I have just for the better understanding of all of you, that I categorized into two parts, in general and specific to the topic. In general, we being all of us belonging to India and citizens of India, we should understand basically the COVID-19 is a biological war. In this war, we all 130 crore populations are the soldiers who are fighting against this particular microorganism. We are all fortunate enough that we being in India, we are naturally covered, we are naturally shielded. We may call it as a Covishield. I'm not talking about the Covishield vaccine, because India is naturally protected in many ways. Our nature, if you see the Indian map, okay, on the north, extreme north, we have a Himalayan mountain. In all the angles, we have oceans. So there is no possibility of any microorganisms, any stranger, any form of stranger can enter into our country. So we are well protected people until somebody purposefully does anything to our country. Our culture is highly protective. Our heritage is phenomenal, where people from other countries, they follow us. But I doubt whether we are still continuing our own culture, heritage, tradition, because we are all fascinated. The younger generation are fascinated towards the westernization, which is the main thing that is to be noted during this kind of circumstances. So specific to the topic, if we see, during this pandemic, corona pandemic situations, these are the core health professionals who are serving the all corona infected patients at their respective hospitals. They are physicians, intensivists, physiotherapists, staff nurses. I strongly doubt whether these professions have been taken care very well by the administration. I doubt. Because why I doubt seriously, during this pandemic situation, even the first time, even the now, there are so many physicians we lost, so many doctors we lost, so many physiotherapists we lost, so many staff nurses we lost. So something to be noted as far as the administration of these particular professionals, and as well as whether these physicians or these professionals are well aware of how to prevent the disease by themselves. I even spite of that, I know all physician knows how to prevent the disease. All physiotherapy staff nurses knows, but I don't. During this pandemic situation, they were forced to work with the n number of patients with the completely wearing the PPT kit for 8 hours. Even in some hospitals, they will not be provided with the air condition and other things also. So in spite of that, when they are getting exposed to the corona patients, when they open the PPT kit by any means, they have a highest possibilities of coming and contacting with the corona infected patients. That is the reason why we are losing the core health professionals who are frontline warriors and fighting against this particular viral infection. So that is the reason why I thought of as a physiotherapist. So whether a physiotherapist can help, especially these health professionals, as well as the entire population, entire target population, about the different ways of prevention of this particular disease, and if they get infected, what is the role of physiotherapist, which is not been very much aware to the community, and what is the how does the physiotherapist are helpful even at the stage of rehabilitation of these COVID infected patients. So I just thought of this topic so that it will be useful for many stakeholders. So before going into the topic, I would like to orientate to all about what is physiotherapy. It's a branch of medical science which is dealing with the science of movement disorder secondary to any kind of illness. So if somebody is having any kind of a movement disorder, maybe because of infectious disease or the non-infectious disease, even in case of trauma, so in any reason, by any reason, if an individual is having the movement disorders, so physiotherapy profession is the only profession which is dealing with the complete recovery of any kind of a movement disorders. So who is physiotherapist? It is a skillful clinician who can consult, diagnose, treat, manage and rehabilitate all the physical health problems. Especially physiotherapists are meant for dealing with the physical health problems. Mainly what it does, mainly through problem specific, tailor-made prescription and implementation of various therapeutic exercises. We proudly call it as an exercise medicine. So this is what is the general introduction about what is coronavirus, what is physiotherapy, who is physiotherapist and other things. Let us come to the first part of the discussion, that is an overview about the COVID-19 or coronavirus and its different waveforms, which I would like to emphasize on today's topic. So coronavirus, it is just a single cell organism which has got potential to live inside the body of any living organisms like animals and human beings by the way of affixing to normal cell walls and having the capability of multiplying its cells in the process of cell mutations. Hypothetically, it is assumed that it can change its shape of the cell body as per its convenience to live. Here I wanted to tell that, so the moment when the coronavirus entered the India during the first time, it has had its shape. Now in the laboratory, the people have found that now the shape is got changed, because that time it could enter into the population with that shape. Now changing the shape, it can affect the different target people. That is why it has changed. That's what is the meaning of convenience. According to its convenience, it changes its shape. It is a deadly, dangerous microorganism which is really shaking entire world and created a pandemic situation, taken away various lives. destroyed the world economy, and many more ill effects which we are facing in our day-to-day life. So, my dear friends, this is what is coronavirus. How does it transmits? So, from the infected individuals droplets, that is during when we cough, so when we sneeze, so the droplets will come out. So come out and it will be there in the environment for some time. In a normal individual, by any means, if he or she exposed to such an environment, like touching the objects in that environment or touching the people who are nearby, so if they're moving in a crowded manner, so in this way, if a normal individual exposed to that environment, so there is a possibilities of this particular organism can enter through into their body through nasopharyngeal tract. Generally, when we touch, definitely we will touch our face also. So we have habit of rubbing our eyes and even the touching the nose. So by any means, it takes the track of respiratory tract, mainly the nasopharyngeal tract. So it will go into the respiratory tract, mainly the upper respiratory tract initially. So after 12 to 24 hours, it may start affecting the upper respiratory tract, followed by it can go to the lungs, affecting the vital functions primarily. So the vital functions of the lungs are primarily the gaseous exchange. Okay, so there is what is gaseous exchange? So there is when expelled out of carbon dioxide and inhalation of oxygen. So this process is taking place in the lungs, especially at the alveoli. So when this is getting affected, definitely the patient will have a problem with the normal respiration. So about the different waveforms of coronavirus. So operational definition for the simple understanding of this corona wave, I just wanted to I wanted to tell you that it is nothing but the time period of specific form of coronavirus targeting on specific age group of people. So in the beginning, during the 2019-20, when the first wave came to India and the world, all of us, irrespective of whether we are an elderly population, whether we are middle-aged people, whether we are adolescents or children, everybody got exposed to this particular COVID-19, but it has affected especially the elderly population. The reason is the senior citizens, the people who are more than 60-year-old. So they have definitely they will have an abnormal physiological changes because of the aging. So or they may develop the comorbidity by this time, like diabetes, hypertension, or they may be taking some medications for their general health. So due to many reasons, their immune system, the defense mechanism of the body might have been reduced. So that is why it is targeted the senior citizens during that time. Then that is why we have found that many of the seniors we lost during the first wave. But the ongoing episode is started exactly after 6 months of the gap period and taken its new shape where it can affect the middle-aged individual. This is what I said before. So initially it has a crown-like shape. Now the shape is changed. So with crown-like shape, it has started affecting the senior citizens. Now in a modified shape, it has started affecting because the seniors now well taken by the Indian government or any people, they were taken the vaccine, they have developed the herd immunity, they were become knowingly, so some of the seniors were well protected by their family members, and we have controlled the seniors going out. So by many means, the coronavirus did not get the elderly population to affect. That is the true fact, to make it more easier, more simplifier. But the middle-aged people, the youngsters, we started going out. So in the first wave, it has affected only the seniors. We all know that. But we think that the adults people are very strong and it will not affect us. So that kind of a mindset, all youngsters are started moving as normally. So you might have seen when the things are open, when the coronavirus, the lockdown is open, so much of elder youngsters or middle-aged people, they started moving in the society as normally. So, but the coronavirus still existing in the environment, so it is waiting for an opportunity to enter into some people who are again immunocompromised and who can spread the infections. So it was waiting. It is our enemy, which is an unknown enemy. We don't know where it is also. So it has taken a chance with the middle-aged people. That is why in the second wave, all the middle-aged population, they started getting affected. And during this time, even this coronavirus, it started infecting rapidly also. The virulence was comparatively higher. So within a 1 week, it is to collapse an active young adult. So really, it is a much worrying aspect that we all are supposed to know about it. So what is our observations if we see between the COVID is the entry and the first wave and second wave? Together if we see now, we can control this wave, first wave, for the period of 6 months, 3 months to 6 months. So absolutely all the number of corona infected patients have reduced to almost to the negligible number, single digits in many states. So during the first wave, it is affected only the elderly population who are physiologically immunocompromised. So now it has started affecting the middle-aged individuals also and few elderly population also. So these are the observations. The third wave is people are hypothetically saying that may have a possibilities of affecting all the age groups, including the children. So why, during the first wave, the seniors are protected. During the second wave, middle-aged people also become more terrified, and they wanted to safeguard by themselves, because most of the middle-aged people are having highest responsibilities of taking care of their family, because the children are very young, and they have so much of social as well as family responsibilities. So they have become very much alert, and they stopped moving in the community. Now the vaccine also started, and for the various age groups. So above 60 years also they have taken the vaccine, 45 to 60 years also they have taken vaccine. Now the 18 to 45 year age also they will be giving the vaccine. So vaccination has come, awareness is some extent compared to the previous time, now it has started. But the only thing is, only people who are not much bothered is the children's. So the children, now the coronavirus may target on them. So who is freely moving around. So I feel the parents and the people who are attending this, kindly take care of your children, because this virus may target now on these children only, because children who are again immunocompromised. We cannot assure being a parents that all of our children are strong. Some of the, due to some natural deficiencies, they may have some immunocompromised problem also. If one children get affected also, there is a possibility of that children become a victim of many children. So that is why we should be very careful during this third wave, and see that third, if we are all taking the proper preventive measures, I am sure that third wave will not come to any part of the country, any part of the world. To be brief, coronavirus taking the descending order of affecting the different age group of people depends upon its convenience of a mode of entering into the human beings. So this is what it's about the different wave forms of coronavirus. Let us see how does this coronavirus affecting the individual as a pathomechanism. So first 12 to 24 hours, this virus will stay in our nasopharyngeal tract, that is uppermost respiratory tract. It can stay for 12 to 24 hours. So how do we know this particular virus is staying in that part of the respiratory tract? It will definitely cause a sore throat. So sore throat is a sign of this microorganism is entered into our respiratory tract. So progressively, if we neglect during that time, okay, so if we are not taken a proper measures of removing that microorganism from the throat, So it is having a highest possibilities of going to the trachea, main bronchus, bronchopulmonary tree, and it may go to the terminal end of the lung, where the true gaseous exchange takes place. The moment it reaches the lower respiratory tract, my dear friends, it will start multiplying in the form of mutations, and it produce so much cells where our body will not be able to tolerate will not be able to fight against these particular abnormal cells. So of course our body having its own defense mechanism by the grace of God, that initially whenever any microorganisms enter into our body will definitely react. We call it as an antibody antigen reactions. The cells responsible are our own WBC cells, platelets. So WBC cells will fight against the organism, and platelets will provide the energy to the body. So as long as we are strong, our immune system is strong, these cells are much activated, much powerful. Of course, we can win over we will not be developing any kind of adverse symptoms. But when we have already immunocompromised, definitely our own defense mechanism may not be useful. So what happened when these WBC cells and platelets are, our body also started reacting. How do we come to know that when especially during this corona time, when a coronavirus enters into the body, so when our WBC cells, plate cells, when they fight, so body will produce a increase in the temperature, raise in the temperature, body temperature. We call it as a fever. So in corona time, the first symptom that what people will see is that rise in the temperature, high grade fever. Okay, followed by they will be having a body pain, fatigability, all those things. The reason is the high grade fever is it's a good sign actually. Why? Our WBC cells are started fighting against this coronavirus. So our body is ready now, but the consistency or the power of our body should be so much powerful that it should kill the entire pathomechanism of coronavirus. So otherwise the person will finally become completely bedridden due to various consequences. So what is the time period that the organism entering into the body and fighting and producing the symptoms? It generally 3 to 14 days as on now. Evidence depends on the evidence. So 3 days it will take. That means 72 hours definitely it will take to come out with the first symptom of fever. So for some people it can last for 14 days also, because the people who are strong enough and who is having the immune system is good, and for them it will take 14 days to develop the first symptom of fever, and sometimes it may not develop also. It will be very much controlled by simply taking the antibiotic drugs. So that is that is how the people who are having the immunocompromised, they get infected very early. The people who are having the highest immune system, they will be getting affected in the more maybe in the day of 14 days. The more delay response of this coronavirus, those people will definitely improve better. The prognosis will always be good. So what is the fate of the infectious individuals or a disease? If we say, it is like any other pattern, like whoever is stronger, they will win. If we are strong and if our WBC cells, platelets, our immune system is strong, definitely we will win over the situation. So otherwise corona is taking its lead with the individual. So during my presentation, I was insisting, I was here and there, I was mentioning about the body immune system. What is this actually? It is nothing but our body's defense mechanism through the activation of responsible cells of the body, like WBC BC cells, T lymphocytes, platelets, etc. are there in our body. So for maintaining the optimum physiological functions of the body by fighting against the microorganisms. So what do you mean by that? So let any microorganisms enter into the body, these cells will protect us and keep our physiological functions, normal functions normally. That is the role of these particular cells. So this immune system is physiologically maintained by three factors. The first factor is good habits and attitude. It is nothing but lifestyle of an individual. It is the first and foremost important factor. Why? We are all, I told you, as I told you in the beginning, we started adopting the westernization culture of living. Okay, our habits have changed, our attitude. So we don't sleep for a complete 8 hours in a day. We sleep maximum of 4 hours, and majority of time nowadays we are all addicted to these mobiles and laptop and online activities, social medias. So our habits, majority of the people, they think smoking is very normal, drinking is very normal. They say even the our culture, no females, they entertain such kind of habits. But nowadays in the metro cities, even in small cities also, if we go and we see, there are females who are habituated such kind of a bad habits. So lifestyle is really matters nowadays as far as the defense mechanism, immune system is concerned, because that will the lifestyle will cause so many other comorbidities which are relevant to affecting the immune system. So the second one is balanced diet. Again, because of our lifestyle, because of our nowadays we are all running behind our responsibilities, and we don't eat in time, and we don't eat in time, and we don't eat as per the requirement also. So initially, when I was a child, during that time, people used to take the breakfast at 8 o'clock and lunch at 1 p.m. and dinner at 8 p.m. So nowadays, this timing is not there only. I know breakfast means they take a good ample of breakfast, and the lunch means they will definitely have a balanced diet, and like this. So that nowadays the food also not so much nutritive, and we don't also choosy, and we are behind our responsibilities. That is the reason nowadays practically we are finding difficult to eat balanced diet, which is again a important thing that will affect the immune system. Then the third part about which we are going to discuss in this lecture is that exercises, regular exercises. So don't think about the moment when I say exercises that somebody has to go to gym and do the exercises. I am not meant for that. I am not telling about that kind of exercises. There are various ways of doing the exercises. So even our routine activity itself, if you are doing our day-to-day activities like a housewife, if they do her household routines, that itself will be an exercise for that particular woman. But nowadays majority of the housewives, they opt for a maid, and maid will do the exercise activities, and she will be strong, and this particular housewife will be eating and sitting in front of the TV or in front of the mobile. They gain a weight, they will become lazy in all the aspects, physically as well as mentally. They will not be active at all. So that is about the housewives. When you talk about the men's, what do we do? So we also follow a sedentary lifestyle. If you are a bank employee, so we go to the office and we'll sit in the computer, or we'll do some a monotonous job, and we'll come back again. We'll sit in front of the TV along with the wife and children, and we'll enjoy. So we don't move at all, and we go in the car, we come in the car. So again, this is what, even when you talk about the younger generation, especially the software professions, what do? They don't know. Once they close the door, they don't know whether it is a daytime or nighttime. Okay, the full lights are there. They are in front of laptop, in front of the computer. Good, so much of targets given to them. So they work continuously in front of hours together, and what is the end of the day? They don't feel whether the day is started or ended. So these people, where is the point of doing exercises, physical activity? That is not happening at all. So dear friends, so there are simple ways of doing exercises. I will we will discuss later on, but exercises are the third important factor which is taking care of the immune system. So that's what exercise as a immunoboosters. As I already told you, out of these three immunoboosters which we have discussed in the previous slide, exercises are considered as very important. So what is these exercises? It is nothing but scientific way of performing individual or a multiple joint movements in a specific directions. So within bracket to remember, it's a functional directions as may be learned by the individuals. As we all know, for a heating, for a driving, for doing any kind of an activities of daily living. So what all the muscles are expand, how do we do, what are the joints supposed to be exercises, we know. That is what is the meaning of as may be learned by individual or as taught by the exercise specialist. So exercise specialist here, I being a physiotherapist, I am insisting, I am saying only about exercises prescribed by the physiotherapist. So before going into this preventive aspect of preventive role of physiotherapy, let us know a little more about the what is the health and the disease prevention. So health, it is a complete state of physical, mental, social and spiritual well-being of an individual, or merely an absence of disease or illness. So one individual should be completely away from the completely nil state of disease or any kind of a illness. That state of a body only we call it as a healthy body, or that is the health. So don't think that healthy means if somebody is physically strong, he is healthy. Somebody may be physically strong but mentally may not be happy, and he may be physically mentally also good but he may not be socially good, and so there are so many other factors. If all these are called as 4 dimensions of health. These are the 4 dimensions: physical dimension, mental dimension, social dimension, spiritual dimension. In these all 4 dimensions, if one individual is good and fit, then only you will be called as a healthy individual. So this health is getting affected primarily by 2 ways. One is disease, by another one is disorder. So otherwise called as illness. So disease is, as we are all aware of nowadays, it is by the external organism, microorganisms like virus, bacteria, fungal, all those things. This is the agents that are causing the diseases. So either a disease or a disorder, it can be very well prevented by the health professionals by following the various levels of preventive methods. So for your understanding, the first method is primordial prevention, and second is primary prevention, third one is secondary prevention, and fourth one is tertiary prevention. So what is these levels of prevention, sir? To understand a little more easier, I wanted to say about the primordial prevention means in the society there are certain people who are targeted for a particular disease or a disorder. So identifying such kind of a target population by the a group of health professionals is the otherwise called as the primordial prevention or primordial prevention. So if you identify them, not just by identifying itself will not be sufficient. So you should teach them. See, you are the elder population. You may develop these are the health consequences. You are the working women. You may have this kind of a health consequences. You are the postmenopausal women. You may have these consequences. and you are the target children, you may have this problem. You are the software professionals, you may have this. You are the sedentary lifestyle workers, you may have. So if you reach, if you identify the target population for various health and disease, the disease and disorders, that level is called as a primordial prevention. After reaching them, okay, what measures you are going to tell them or you are going to advise them so that their health will be maintained. Those measures are called as a primary prevention methods. Then what is secondary prevention? So in spite of identifying the people and telling them the solutions, and some people will come in contact with the particular disease or illness. Once the disease occurred, once the disease sets into the individual's health, so what is the remedies that we take? What is the intervention that we do? That is called as a secondary prevention. And of course, the person will not, a particular disease will not leave only to the particular system. Okay, it will have an impact on all 11 system of our body. So they may require a multi-level care. We call it as a tertiary care prevention. So a disease, will be more prone to get the disease if you identify them, that is a primordial. And after identification, if you give them a solution to prevent the disease by themselves, that is a primary prevention. And in spite of that, when they fail and when they come across with any kind of a disease or illness, the treatment that we give is a secondary prevention, and the consequences that we maintain will be the tertiary prevention. These are the different levels of prevention of illness. So about the as a physiotherapist, what is our role as a preventive physiotherapist? So like any other health professionals, as a health team member, okay, we also start with the health education. This health education, whether it is useful to other diseases or not, but for the coronavirus, it is very, 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 very important. You know why? Because certain things are not clear even to the health professionals, because it's a new disease, a new storm that we are all facing. So the proper education is very, very important. Then health education is not only meant for other than health professionals. Okay, it is including health professionals. Health education is mandatory, because there's so much of preventive measures that everybody, all the health professionals are aware of, but they will not give attention to follow this health education, that knowledge for themselves. They think out of their busy schedule, out of their thing, they could not able to follow. But it is not excusable during this pandemic situation, because the education about the particular disease and illness is highly important for health professionals nowadays, because we are the frontline warriors. So we should be able to strictly adopt the principles of health education, knowing about the preventive measures and other things. So as a physiotherapist, what we do, okay, if any target population when we identified in the society, so we will be categorizing them on the basis of age, sex, and the occupation. So we categorize them as a especially we take age as a factor for the for teaching any kind of a preventive measures. For an elderly population, for a middle-aged people, for an adulthood, for younger adults, for children, or a newborn. So because the role of physiotherapy, not only for this infectious disease, it has now entered into all the streams of medical discipline, because from womb to tomb, the profession is helpful, useful for the different levels of prevention of any kind of illness. So let us come to the exactly what is preventive physiotherapy exercise protocol means. Again, before going to this, there are so many you might have observed, I'm just covering the background of the presentation that I wanted to enter into this. Because without telling the previous contents, I cannot proceed with what I wanted to say in this particular lecture. That is the reason we have discussed so much of general issues. Even now, I wanted to say, before actually starting with the preventive physiotherapy access protocol, I wanted to ask you all, how do we start our day? So, I know starting a day is highly individualistic. I start a different way. In my family, my wife, my son, they start a different way, and at your family also, everybody is highly individualistic. But the concept is that we should recharge our mind as well as the body for that day. Okay, for 24 hours of active participation of our routine work, active involvement of our routine work, we should charge our body as well as the mind 100%. That is the main concept of knowing about how do we start our day. So for mind, to recharge the mind, even in our culture, the previous some 50 years before, even nowadays, some people will do the meditations, yoga, even simple form of a breathing exercises. So you just at different positions, you sit or you stand or you lie down, in any position that you wanted to adapt, simply doing the breathing exercises will relax the mind. You know, the breathing is incorporated not only to the body, even to the mind also. There are so much of scientific evidences for that. Then of course our hobbies which we like. Some people listen to the music, some people listen to singing, some people will have a drawing, and they you can follow any of your hobbies that you feel where your mind will be relaxed. So these are the methods that we may follow for charging our mind. What about for body? Body, my dear friends, it is just 15 to 20 minutes of endurance exercises is enough. So what is this endurance exercises? Maybe for physiotherapy students and health professionals, you may understand the term called endurance, but for the people who are attending this lecture, other than health professions, for them it may be may not be that much clear what is endurance exercises means. It is nothing but it is characteristically meant for maintenance of optimal muscle strength till we complete the task of specific activity. This is what is the endurance. So if our muscle has its own endurance means, that should be completely utilized for completion of a particular task. For example, for a simple example, when we are eating, so of course people eat minimum 5 to 10 minutes. So when we are taking a bowl of meal in front of in the table, dining table, so we take the bowl of meal, and during that time by the hands we just take the food in our hand and we take towards our mouth and we leave it in the mouth. Again we'll come back to the meal. So this particular movement will be it requires not the power, not the strength, it requires the endurance, because we repeat the same movement for more than 10 to 15 times. We repeat it for 5 minutes, we repeat it for 10 minutes, some people. So till that time the muscles which are responsible for this particular movement should have a strength to complete the task. That is called as sustained strength, is nothing but is the endurance. So every individual is in need of performing 15 to 20 minutes of endurance exercises daily to charge our body. Why only endurance exercise? I told you, we doesn't require power, we doesn't require strength. You know, power is nothing but the ability to do the movement is power. Strength means ability to do the work for one time is a strength. But endurance means the same work, if you do it for a complete, maybe 10 times, 15 times, it is called as endurance. We don't want endurance. We don't want power. We don't want strength. We want only the endurance in our for our routine work. So this, one more reason why you don't power and endurance, power and strength, uh, in case of a routine, once we take a complete rest, our power will not lose, our strength will not lose, that will be there. But endurance may, even a prolonged 8 hours of sleeping, we may lose the endurance, because in our body there are certain muscles are there. We call it as like melting muscles. Okay, all the anti-gravity muscles like quadriceps and the back extensor, these are the anti-gravity muscles. For example, simple example I am telling you, these muscles, if you take a prolonged rest, they become weak. Their endurance will reduce. So certain kind of a functionally dominating muscles or anti-gravity muscles should be always have, should have, has its, we should always maintain its endurance. Otherwise, we will feel that we are weak. That is the reason why we should follow the endurance exercises, not the exercises for power and strength. Power and strength will be for improving the power and strength. People will go to gym, but do the endurance exercises. Your home itself is enough. So about to say the importance of exercises, just I wanted to make you all understand that our body is like an engine of a machine, and exercises are the fuel. Without the fuel, engine will not function like this. So all of us to be active, actively to participate and do the work qualitatively, and we need to have the endurance, we need to do the exercises. So what are the preventive physiotherapy exercise protocol? Yes, now the physiotherapists are ready to teach the endurance exercises for the various target population. So what do we do? So first thing is, in our body there are some vital organs like heart and the lungs. Heart and lungs also a kind of a muscle tissue only. So this tissue also needs a endurance. So a normal endurance of heart, normal endurance of respiratory muscles will be simply, it will be we can maintain their endurance by simply doing the various forms of breathing exercises. The muscles which are the core muscles which are responsible for normal breathing is the primary muscle is diaphragm, then the abdominals and the intercostal muscles. The intercostal muscles are the muscles which are attached to the chest wall, and the diaphragm which divides the thorax into abdomen, and of course abdominal muscles are, we know. So all these muscles are the core muscles, okay, which are useful for inspiration of the air as well as the expiration of the air. These muscles will not lose its power, will not lose its strength, but these muscles are supposed to work for lifetime. You imagine, if heart stops for 1 second, it means you will be collapsed. Okay, and if your lungs are not working, and nowadays due to this corona, people are in need of oxygen intubation. Okay, so this is what we cannot neglect these two vital organs and its endurance. So simply by doing breathing exercises, this endurance, the heart and lungs will be definitely endurated. Of course, that is for the heart and lungs. So what do we do for the remaining segments of the body? We have got a spine, which is very, very important segment. We have an upper limb, we have a lower limb. So what do we do for this as a physiotherapist? What a preventive exercise protocol is there? Okay, so all physiotherapists will be teaching two forms of exercises in general. They are called as closed kinematic chain exercises. Other one is open kinematic chain exercises. So closed kinematic chain exercises means in a single exercise form, we will be completing all the joints involved in this segment. Okay, so if when we are about to exercise the wrist, the movement of the wrist and hand, if it is accompanies the movements of the forearm, movements of the elbow, movements of the shoulder at a time in a single exercise, we call it as a closed kinematic chain exercises. The other exercise is called as a open kinematic chain exercises. That is to improve the power, strength and endurance of individual segments. Okay, if there is a weakness of the hand, hand exercises. If there is a weakness of the shoulder, shoulder exercises. If the weakness of the trunk exercises. Like this, we physiotherapist, we teacher, we concentrate on the individual segments also. So what are the closed kinematic chain exercises? So these are the first and foremost exercises which is very much useful, proven effective in case all the therapeutic disorders is spinal exercises. So for your knowledge, for your understanding, I'm the only I'm the only physiotherapist, or I don't want to say I'm the only physiotherapist. I'm the physiotherapist who strongly believe that spinal exercises helping will be helping in all the therapeutic conditions. Okay, even if somebody is having the spinal problem, spinal exercises. If somebody is having the knee joint problem, spinal exercises. If they are having a problem with hip joint problem, spinal exercises. So let you name any kind of a therapeutic disorders, and I strongly believe that incorporating spinal exercises along with the routine form of treatment are proven effective as far as my experience is concerned. Then of course the sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, cycling or other exercises will be this kind of exercises. We call it as a closed kinematic chain exercises. As I already told you, what are the open kinematic chain exercises? These are specific to each joint. Okay, if we found there is a problem with the shoulder, then we teach shoulder exercises. If we found there is a problem with the knee joint, we teach the knee joint exercises. There is specific segmental exercises or nothing but open kinematic chain exercises. So what are the basic principles that we follow before prescription of exercises? Is the type of exercises that we prescribe, and the frequency, how many times they are supposed to do, what is its intensity, and the timing. Okay, when do they are supposed to do, whether they are supposed to do in the morning, whether they are supposed to do it in the evening, whether they are supposed to do it in the before bed, or they do it for 15 minutes, whether they should do it for 20 minutes. So on this basis, that is highly individualistic and the tailor made. Okay, it is specific to the person to person. It will not be common. I will not say that a 65-year-old person will be doing the spinal exercises for 10 repetitions or 15 repetitions. I may start from the 5 repetitions, then I may progress to 10 repetitions, then to the 15 repetitions to the maximum. So like this, every exercises will be the principles that before. These are the certain principles every physiotherapist is supposed to follow when we prescribe the exercises. And also the next thing is for an asymptomatic elderly population. So we start from the low graded closed kinematic chain exercises. For the symptomatic elderly population, we may start with the kind of a interventional exercises, because they are already having a set of symptoms, set of problems. They have a problem with their spine, they have a problem with their shoulder, they have a problem with their knee joints. So first we treat those segments, then we go with the endurance exercises. Of course, for the middle-aged people, for the children, adults and all, depends on their fitness, depends on the requirement. We may put them into a closed kinematic chain exercise or a open kinematic exercise, whichever they feel. And we advise them to incorporate the 15 to 20 minutes of regular exercises in their routine, so that they always be fit and they will be ready to do their routine responsibilities normally. Of course, for the children, we always suggest the exercises which will incorporate their playful activities. So parents, nowadays children are not playing, and see that they go out, they go and do the physically related playful activities. Otherwise nowadays children are more adapted to the mobiles and mobile games and video games and all other games that we see in the and they are become addicted in that way. They are becoming, that is the reason in corona, the third wave, we may have a chances of affecting the children also. Then how does this preventive exercises that we are going to prescribe, that is going to be useful for COVID-19? If you ask me, it is expected that all the individuals supposed to incorporate. If we are regularly doing exercises, that will be definitely improve our immune system. Okay, that will always improve our immune system, that the cells which I told you, T lymphocytes, WBC cells, platelets, all these cells, they will become always active. Okay, and their cells will be ready to fight. Okay, and that is how these exercises are going to be useful. Number one. Number two, the physiotherapist will tailor the exercises as per the need of the person. Okay, if they are already having a symptoms, if they are having the comorbidity within themselves, then the physiotherapist, first they correct they prescribe the exercises for correction of the comorbidity or normalizing the comorbidity. Then that in that way, if the comorbidity is some extent it is prevented, that person natural immunity will be functioning and they can fight against this corona virus. So that is how the physiotherapist play a role of prevention of this not only COVID-19 in any kind of an infectious disease. So in the summary of preventive role, I wanted to say that exercises are very, very important. Okay, and exercises which are prescribed and monitored and taught by the physiotherapist, not by the any other exercise teaching people who are commercially available. My dear stakeholders who are attending this, kindly for knowing about what kind of preventive exercises will be suitable to you, you please go and visit a nearby physiotherapist, because nowadays there are a number of physiotherapists are practicing even in a small towns. So you can go to them and you can have a first consultation with them. Sir, I'm a 70-year-old person. I'm having diabetes. I'm having osteoarthritis. I'm having spondylosis. What I'm supposed to do? What kind of an exercises I'm supposed to do as a routine? You can consult them. Even if you don't have any symptoms, still you can go and consult him. And if you wanted to start your life as an exercises, if you want to incorporate some kind of an exercises into your life, so it is now in olden days. Of course, there is no physiotherapist and people used to start on their own, and that is a different part. But now when there are people who are available, who are ready to guide you, and why can't you reach them and take an appropriate service from them? So you take help of the physiotherapist and follow what are the exercises that is been prescribed by physiotherapist, and that will be useful for prevention of this particular deadly dangerous viral infection. Not only this viral infection, any kind of infection, any kind of illness can be very well prevented by following the strict preventive exercises. Then home exercises or immunoboosters. That's what it is not. That's what I wanted to tell you, that in the summary also. It is not that you have to go to your physiotherapist and you continue the exercises with them. No, it is not necessary. Once you go there and learn for 1 or 2 days the exercises, whatever he told, once you assure that you have learned the exercises properly, then do the same kind of exercises in the home also. That will be definitely useful for prevention of any kind of illness. So how does this help, sir? Why you are so much stressing about exercises? You can ask me. Okay, so without exercises, even we cannot eat normally also. Yeah, I think you agree with my statement, because if you don't move after taking the breakfast, you just make a trial in 1 day. You take breakfast and you just sit in one place, and do you feel hungry in the afternoon? Definitely you will not feel, until unless you do some household activities, until unless you engage yourself in your routine activities, you will not feel. So exercises will help you to eat a good food. So it will increase your appetite. Okay, and then you increase your appetite and you try to eat good food as I advised. So that is how the exercises help. So exercises indirectly, it will make you to eat balanced diet, which is an important factor for keep our immune system active. So that is why I tell you, let us all incorporate the culture of doing exercises in a routine day-to-day life, so that not only this biological war, but we can win over many such circumstances. Curative role of physiotherapy. After the routine investigations, so far whatever discussed is the preventive role. Now let us come to, no sir, now the corona is entered into the person is diagnosed with COVID-19 and he is hospitalized now. So what a physiotherapist will do? Okay, so usually let us, for the easy understanding, I am just taking into the other way around, that is more severe cases, less severe cases, and the normal cases. So the more severely infected people, okay, they get admitted to intensive care unit. Okay, the role of physiotherapist there as a important health governing member, important ICU member, intensive care unit member, along with the physicians and the intensivist. So he will be performing the intensive care physiotherapy protocol. Okay, then from the intensive care, one there is a prognosis, the vital parameters are stable, and then the patient will be shifted to recovery ward. Okay, so from the recovery ward he will be shifted to general ward. From the general ward patient will come to home. So this is what is the how do the corona patient taken care in the hospital. Okay, so that if they are severely affected, they will be admitted in the ICU. From the ICU, the patient will go to the recovery ward. From the recovery ward, the patient will go to the general ward. From the general ward, the patient will get discharged. So during this time, what is the role of physiotherapist? Okay, we all know that. Why do a person will get admitted in the ICU? Because certainly because due to the unstable vital parameters. Okay, mainly secondary to cardiorespiratory involvement, because if the heart is not functioning properly, the lungs are not working properly, definitely the parameters will change. Mainly the heart rate, pulse rate, respiratory rate will collapse such an extent that where you will be depending on the machines. Okay, so in ICU there is a life protecting machines are there, equipments are there, upon which the person will be sustaining his life for some time, along with the medical and appropriate medical intervention. So during this time, a physiotherapist will also be a member in the ICU. So what he does? Okay, so the important reason, especially in corona time, why do the corona patients should develop the cardiorespiratory dysfunction? The reason is there is a collection of a good amount of secretions in the lungs, in the respiratory tract. That is the only reason why there is a proper gaseous exchange is not taking place. So these secretions should be removed. That respiratory tract should be cleared. Okay, that is the responsibility given to a physiotherapist. Okay, always physiotherapist will be working in ICU just clearing the lung segments so that normal gaseous exchange will be possible. Then the medications that is being given by the physicians will be definitely useful for good prognosis. Okay, if the secretions are still not there and person is not able to breathe actively, so there is no medications will work. So that is the important role intensive physiotherapist will be doing in the intensive care unit. What do they do? What is the methods? We follow a different kind of a chest physiotherapy. Okay, we try to loosen the secretions, and we know we auscultate the lung segments, and wherever is the secretions, there only we go and do some loosening chest physiotherapy maneuvers. Of course, we teach the breathing exercises, and we teach the as different methods of loosening and postural drainage. If the person is not comfortable in doing some manual techniques, and simply by positioning the patient after adopting some loosening techniques, the secretions will come out by itself. And we teach some various kind of huffing and coughing techniques, so that the person will try to that particular patient will their secretions will be cleared, the lung segments will be clear, respiratory tract will be clear, and there will allow a person to breathe actively. Okay, we'll give a chance to breathe actively. Along with that, medications also will be helpful. Then once the above techniques will enhance the clearance, that's what I was telling you. Then once this maneuver, if this intensive care treatment is been continued for a few days on the medical intervention simultaneously by the physicians, so definitely we hope that the patient will improve. Okay, once they improve, how do you know their improvement? because their vital functions, the vital parameters will be stable for more than 24 hours. Then they will be shifted to recovery ward. So in the recovery ward, what do your physiotherapist will do? Okay, so we teach the muscles which are responsible for normal respiration, no, that I told you before, the diaphragm, then the chest, intercostal muscles, abdominal muscles, they have become weak during the stay of intensive care. Okay, during the ICU stay, these muscles are not at all used. So we teach various forms of chest mobility exercises. Okay, we teach them the normal active cycle of breathing techniques. Okay, and we teach them even some residual secretions are there. Patients, they themselves, how do they cough out and clear the secretions. Okay, and of course we not only do this, we also take care of the relevant joints mobility and the endurance of those. These are the some kind of techniques that we teach when a patient is shifted to recovery ward. Okay, that will help the person to furthermore good prognosis, and they go to the general ward after some good improvement, and from the general ward also they continue the same. So on the day when they get discharged, okay, again a physiotherapist, we will be teaching them the home care physiotherapy remedy. Okay, what do the day when they get discharged from the hospital, along with the exercises that is being followed in the recovery ward. Okay, we teach them a kind of an aerobics and anaerobic form of exercises, because general body improvement, general body endurance, because so far we concentrated on the heart, lungs and the respiratory muscles endurance. But now when they go home, when they go back, when they want, a person wanted to go back to his job, the role is that he is not only the heart and lungs endurance and the respiratory muscle endurance, he should develop the overall physical endurance also. For that we teach the overall body physical endurance exercises, maybe in the form of aerobics and anaerobics, maybe the closed kinematic chain exercises or open kinematic, as in that's what I told you, we prescribe the exercises on tailor base. If this person what he requires, accordingly we will teach the exercises. That is what on the day of discharge as a home care physiotherapy we give. Then last part of my today's lecture is about rehabilitative role of physiotherapy. You know, we, even though many people are aware of certain extent of how to prevent us from the coronavirus, and in spite of that they get infected, they get hospitalized. In the hospital also, all the health professionals are trying to help the patient to improve to the certain extent, out of the safeguarding the individual during the medical intervention, during the process of this disease. Okay, in spite of good health care, medical care, these patients are nowadays showing some post-COVID complications. Okay, once they were discharging from the hospital also, after some days they started developing some neurogenic complications, respiratory complications. They continue to be tired for a long time. There are so many complications they develop even after they become properly, after they become improved good also. So these kind of unexpected complications also will be treated by the, taken care by the physiotherapist as in the form of rehabilitative measures. If they are having the neurological complaints, so this will be consulted and treated by the physiotherapist in the OPD basis. If they are having the cardiorespiratory complaints, the cardiopulmonary physiotherapist will be consulting and treating, giving the appropriate exercise protocol in the OPD basis. Like this, different, even in our profession, there are so many therapists, specialists. Okay, so they work on, depends on the which complication that they developed, and they see that the person will completely go back to his job in a full-fledged manner. So that is what that is how we help even in the time of post-COVID complications. So there are so many post-COVID OPDs are started in various centers, various tertiary care hospitals. So even in Krishna Hospital, we have a post-COVID center where the people of this kind will come us. These complications are like any other infections. Like in therapeutic conditions, we deal with a condition called Guillain-Barré syndrome. That is post-infective polyneuropathy. So this is again a deadly dangerous complications of an infectious disease. Okay, and they come to us with a paralysis, a complete paralysis. They come to us with a cardiorespiratory involvement, bulbar palsy, ventilator dependent, and sometimes the GBS patients used to die also. Like the same line, even this corona post-infectious patients also developing the complications, and we as a physiotherapist will help them for the complete rehabilitation of these individuals also during the time of their complications, post-COVID complications. So this is what I wanted to emphasize on this in my today's lecture, and hope all of you might have understand what is actually physiotherapists are, how much physiotherapists are helpful during this corona pandemic situation in the aspect of preventive, in the aspect of curative, in the aspect of rehabilitative role. Just for the make you all people to aware, I just presented this lecture, and I think some of you might have expected some video clips of some exercises. Of course, many of you are known to me, so you may expect, sir, why can't you send me the video clips of some exercises, whatever the spinal exercises and other things you are saying. I'm very sorry that to say that no exercises that you are supposed to do by seeing the video clips, or because nowadays I know the people are fascinated to download some exercise protocol from the YouTube and learn from the YouTube. Even some people are started doing the yoga by seeing the TV when yoga practitioners when they do, and the people from the house they practice, because any motor skill is not so easy that by seeing once you can do the execute the motor skill, because the proverb of learning, I don't want to say whose proverb it is, because we are facing the serious problem by these people. There's a proverb by a particular group of people. They say, if you hear, you may forget. If you see, you can remember. If you do, you can do. So, my dear friends, if you wanted to learn any exercises, you please consult the nearby physiotherapist and go to them. Don't bother about paying a consultation fees to a physiotherapist for 1 or 2 sittings, and you learn the skills, and then you master in front of him, and once he is satisfied with the knowledge of the motor skill, then you practice at your home, and that is the only intention of mine, where I don't want to send any video clips of my exercise protocol. So that is the reason, even I advise all of you the same. Don't follow any exercises from the YouTube, and then try to, because actually if you wanted to learn a motor skill, as I said, you should see that how I am doing, then you should learn from me, and you should do in front of me, then only the motor skill will be completed. You can learn it satisfactorily. So during this corona pandemic, as any other health professionals advises, as any other administrators in the country, responsible administrator advises, I always say that even I too wanted to say that corona is a fight between the unknown organism and the human beings, and it is a true biological war. During this war, all of us are soldiers. All of us are responsible. It is not only the doctors, it is not only the nurses, it is not only the physiotherapists, it is not only the state administrators. So it is each and every one of us are fighting at their own level. So let us prevent us from this disease. So how do we prevent? What are the preventive measures that is practically available in front of us? If we see what is advisable is that, so wear the mask. Now we are now in our environment, everywhere COVID is there. That is why we need to be very careful. Okay, so everywhere coronavirus is there. Wear the mask when you go out of your home. Then whoever is your friends, don't go nearer to them. Maintain the social distancing. Of course, we go and touch many things out of our routine activities. So wash your hands. And of course, the vaccine is available. So all of you take vaccine. First dose of vaccine will proven effective for more than 30 percentage of prevention of this disease. And if you take second dose only, it can protect us up to the maximum of 80 percentage. So both the doses are very important. Avoid crowded movement. Don't go out of your home unnecessarily. Stay at your home. Stay safe. This is what I wanted to tell you. If at all anybody wanted to contact me for any queries, these are my mail ID and mobile number. Always I am there at your service. Thank you for your patient listening and your valuable time that you have given to me for watching this particular presentation. Hope this session will be useful to all of you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.